Welcome to today's group training. Today we are going over stacking wins and preventing self-sabotage. So I've made a couple other trainings on preventing self-sabotage. If that's something that you guys are struggling with, I want you to check the previous trainings. But this is something that will also be very helpful for you. I believe that building small positive habits throughout the day can help prevent self-sabotage and maintain our momentum on our fitness journey, especially for individuals with ADHD. So here I'm going to go through a step-by-step process. Basically, what I do. I'm basically telling you guys exactly what I do um, to prevent self-sabotage. Because usually most people end up self-sabotaging towards the end of the day. Um, and I'm trying to get people to prevent taking back steps, because a lot of the reason why people struggle to actually get the results they want is not because they're not putting in the work. It's because they take so many back steps. It's like most people are just consistent but not seeing results because they take back steps on the weekend, they take back steps at night with snacking, they take back steps with drugs and alcohol. So there's a lot of things we're going to get into, but I believe that the most common thing on the planet is someone who is consistent without the results they want. You see people that are consistent in the gym without the results. You see people that are consistent in all these areas, but they're still not getting the results that they quite want, and that's because there's bottlenecks. It's like, think of like water coming through a pipe, but there's a hole coming out of the pipe. So a lot of the fluid that's going through the pipes, you're losing a lot of that fluid from just your bottleneck. So all these holes throughout your pipes, it's preventing that liquid to actually get to where it needs to go so you can reach your goals. If that makes sense. So um, I believe that back steps is a lot of people's problem. Okay, people take all these front steps working towards their goals, and then they somehow convince themselves to self-sabotage because maybe they deserve it, or some other type of justification in their head to take back steps. And I want to be clear, like, enjoying yourself, going out to eat, hanging out with friends, having a drink every once in a while, that's not taking back steps. Taking back steps is falling out of momentum and self-sabotage. And we're going to get into that. All right. So the first thing is, guys, is the wake up time. So and I'm not saying you guys have to wake up super early. All I'm saying is that when you tell yourself you're going to wake up at a certain time, you wake up at that time. You get up out of bed without hitting the snooze. That's your first win. Because everybody is struggling with keeping their word. Like, you keep your word to your friends and your family. We also have to keep our word to ourselves. That's a lot of people's problem too. They're not keeping their word. They're keeping their word to other people, but not themselves. So, guys, if you tell yourself that you're going to wake up at 7 in the morning, you get up at 7 in the morning and you don't snooze, and that's that first win. Gratitude is action, guys. So even if you can get up early and push yourself out of bed, catapult out of bed when you're so comfortable in bed and you'd rather be sleeping a couple more hours, if you can show gratitude right then and be like, I'm grateful for this one life. I'm excited to get up and crush my goals. Like, you're showing the universe through action that you are grateful just right out the gate, right when you wake up. That wake up time to me is very important. I sometimes get militant about it. A lot of you guys see me on my social media. Monday through Saturday, I wake up at 5 in the morning. I don't know if that's super early for anybody or not, but for me, this is just what's going on for me personally. Uh, I have so much to do throughout the day, so I would be so anxious and overwhelmed if I didn't wake up early, and then I would have this negative self-talk because I know I'm capable of waking up early. I know that I should be waking up early because I have all this shit to do, and I want to spend the morning um, doing self-development work so I have time to do other stuff. So, I mean, for me personally, I'm just telling you what's going on with me personally. If I don't wake up at 5 in the morning and I sleep in, I'm going to have negative self-talk, and that's going to be my first L. And if I catch that first L straight out the gate, it's going to be easier for me to justify another L. Okay, I didn't wake up on time. I slept in. Okay, maybe now I can eat off my plan. Maybe now I can, I'm gonna go to Dairy Queen. Okay, now maybe I'm gonna smoke some weed. Maybe I'm gonna watch some porn. It's gonna be easier for me to keep self-sabotaging if I started the first act, if I started it on the wrong foot. So we need to start on the right foot. And again, guys, I'm not telling you to wake up at 5 in the morning. Whatever I do want you guys waking up a little bit earlier than you're used to, just to give yourself more time to get deeper into the 15-minute morning routine, to maybe do your mobility routine, to maybe go and get your first couple thousand steps, we should be waking up earlier just so we have a good amount of time to work on our self-development. I trust me, guys, it's going to get us positive right in the front, right in the beginning of the day, doing something positive, doing something that we can be proud of, right? It's going to be that first W. And we're gonna keep getting into it. So after we wake up, and we wake up when we tell ourselves we're going to wake up without hitting the snooze button, that's our first win. And then the 15-minute morning routine, 5 minutes on your mind, 5 minutes on your body, 5 minutes on your emotions. What I've been doing now is that I've been doing the 15-minute morning routine so long that I don't so much do the 5 minutes on your mind and 5 minutes on your emotions anymore. I really just do 15 to 30 minutes of mobility work. So I wake up, I go on a quick walk, and maybe get 1,000 steps, a quick little walk. It's just kind of like it's kind of just like opening up my eyelids up at 4:45, doing 3 miles. Yeah, Jason, you're crushing it. You're crushing it. So we're just getting into it. So Jason, you might not be struggling with self-sabotage at all. But I still want to go over this all with you because there might be some area where you feel like you're not catching that win, or you are catching an L, and you feel like you might be losing your momentum. But um, I don't think anybody who's on the live with me right now is struggling with self-sabotage, but this is still a good reminder for us to even stay deeper into momentum and for us to even be more proud of what we're currently doing. Because even that mindset and alone, and even that realization, being aware that this isn't much of an issue for you, that's going to even put you in momentum as well. So we start with stacking wins from the wake up time to doing the 15-minute morning routine and not negotiating with self. When we start to negotiate with ourselves, like I could sleep in, I could do this, I could skip the 15-minute morning routine, I don't have to do more. But when we start with negotiating with ourselves, like, I don't know about you guys, but if I negotiate with myself with something that I know I need to be doing, I gave myself internally, like, I give you my word, I'm going to do this, and I start negotiating myself when the time comes I need to do it, um, and I don't do it, I'm going to get negative self-talk, and that's going to be an L. That's going to be an L for me. So we need to catch those first two W's. The wake-up time, we got a W. We do the 15-minute morning routine, we do a little bit of mobility or go on a walk, that's another W. That first meal, guys, that's another W. So if we start our first meal with a nutritious breakfast, a good amount of protein, and and just us knowing that we're eating something that's going to keep us on track, that's another W. That's also going to keep us in momentum. So wake up time, we caught a W. 15-minute morning routine, we caught a W. Maybe your 15-minute morning routine is going on a walk like me and Jason doing mobility. That's definitely a W. First meal, you eat something on point, you get in your protein, and that's another W. Then we do a workout. Then we do a workout, guys. Engage in a planned workout to boost your energy, move, physical activity, release endorphins, and improve mental clarity, of course. And also to keep us in momentum, to stack another W. Guys, if we keep stacking W after W throughout the day, so it's like morning, mid-morning, afternoon, mid-afternoon, evening, late at night, we keep stacking win after win after win. When the opportunity presents itself where we could potentially self-sabotage, our mindset has been built up so strong throughout the day that usually, I'm not saying all the time, but more often than not, the opportunity to self-sabotage is at night. So if we've been stacking win after win in the morning, in the day, and that night comes where it presents us an opportunity to self-sabotage, we're going to be so mentally tough and so proud of ourselves in the moment, we're not going to want to ruin that. It's going to be easy for us to not self-sabotage because we've been stacking wins all day. But if we've been catching L's, and if there's a mixture of L's and W's throughout the day, that's not bad. I don't expect you guys to be perfect, but I'm just saying that it affects your mindset. Every L you get, it makes it more and more easy for you to justify self-sabotaging again. This is just what I experienced. So you guys might not completely resonate with this, but this is just what I experienced. So we caught a W from the wake up. We caught a W from our morning routine. First meal caught a W. Then we got a workout caught the W. Okay, what is next? We're keep positive self-talk while we're doing the workout. Positive self-talk while we're eating that meal that we know is going to keep us trapped. Positive self-talk when we're hopping out of our bed, and we don't really want to wake up and we'd rather sleep in and we'd rather just stay in our bed. Well, that self-talk's like, I'm grateful for this one life. I have air in my lungs, my heart is beating, my brain is working, my body is working. Like, I'm grateful to get out of bed. I'm going to prove to the universe through my action that I'm grateful for this one life, and I'm going to get out of this bed, even though I'm comfortable, and I'm going to go start my day. Unless, guys, you're getting shitty sleep. Guys, if you're getting consistently less than 8 hours of sleep, that is more important than this mindset work that I'm talking. If you're struggling with hitting a consistent 7-8 hours of sleep, I want us focusing on that instead of trying to wake up earlier. Because like if we're waking up so early, we're only getting 5 hours of sleep each night. That's a whole nother story. Okay, because that's going to affect other areas of our fitness journey. This is all mindset stuff where I think that, if we're getting a good amount of sleep and we get up out of bed when we tell ourselves to, that is just solidifies the first W of the day. And that's what I want for all of you guys. All right. And make sure we're having positive self-talk through each one of these wins that we stack. We celebrate ourselves. So when you do wake up, you got to give yourself that proud. Don't just pass it by. Be like, okay, I just fucking did that. I'm a badass. I control my life. I control my choices. I'm a badass. You need to be proud when you stack these wins, and you need to celebrate. Even as we're going throughout the day, you're celebrating yourself just following through, and you're just fully validated by just putting in the work. You're just validating yourself by stacking these wins, and then you praise yourself. You validate yourself by stacking the wins, and then you praise yourself for a moment for following through and getting it done. That whole mindset, that whole approach to these tasks is going to keep us in momentum. It's going to keep us from not self-sabotaging. Doing something good for someone else. Guys, I don't know about you, but I feel like this is the secret sauce. Like, you do something good for, if you have kids, if you have a wife, if you have a good friend, you just do something randomly good for someone, guys. This is a win, okay? The universe responds to energy. So if you release a certain type of energy that is going to make someone feel good, you're going to get that right back. And that energy is going to keep you in pace with this momentum. That energy is going to keep you in a mindset of wanting to continue to not self-sabotage and keep pushing through this self-development work throughout the day. Making sense, guys? Hope you guys are getting value from this, but doing good something, just shoot a random text. I always shoot a random text to my mom, my good friends, and just throughout the day, just hey, I love you, I'm thinking about you, hope you're doing okay. Just stuff like that, and just being mindful of trying to make someone else's day a little bit better is going to just make your day a little bit better. Okay? Whatever you release, you possess. Probably one of my favorite quotes. Okay? So also hitting our steps. We have all these habits in the app that I want you guys to check off. A lot of you guys have more habits than others, and we're all building more as over time we start to just get better at this self-development process and better at checking things off and better at stacking wins. And hitting our steps is a big one for a lot of you guys. So sometimes I know it's not convenient to hit your steps. And again, guys, I don't want it to be perfect. If you're dealing with some shit or you can't do it or you're tired, it's okay to not hit your steps sometimes. But I do want you to understand that these habits, it's going to be easier for us to consistently stack these habits if we consistently do them, okay? Because when it comes to momentum, guys, this whole concept that I'm talking about is that momentum is a lot easier when you're already going, okay? So think of a car that is completely stalled on the highway, and to get it going, to get the wheels turning, you have to get a couple really hard pushes. You have to get it a couple really hard pushes for the wheels to start to turn. But once the wheels are already turning and the car is moving and things are just going, it's a lot easier for the car to keep traveling because it's already in momentum. So guys, if you were in momentum like that car is, but then you were to go onto a sudden stop, you're going to have to give those initial hard push again for you to get into momentum. So that's why if we stop a lot of these habits, like if you take a week off from doing your steps, we're not gonna be able to hit our, if you guys are some of you guys are at 10K, some of you guys are at 20K steps, we're not gonna be able to get right back into those 20K steps if you take a week off or even take maybe three days off. Like if you take a couple of days off from some of these habits, we're not going to just be able to go right back into full throttle on the habits where we were previously because we're out of momentum. Guys, when you're out of momentum, you can't start at the same pace that you were when you were in momentum. We're going to start back at square one And it might be easier for us to build up acceleration because we have that muscle memory and we've done this before. But this is the whole thing I was talking about, preventing back steps. Because when we stop doing the habits that are keeping us in momentum for a period of time, it's going to cause our mindset, it's going to cause our body to just take back steps, and we're not going to be able to start where we left off. If that makes sense. So, and there's back steps in all sorts of areas, like taking back steps when it comes to our nutrition, taking back steps when it comes to our workouts, our recovery, our mindset. And that's why the best way to prevent self-sabotage, the best way to prevent back steps is to stack wins throughout the day. And if we're having a hard day, if it's not a perfect conditions, we don't have to keep up with the same intensity of these habits that we were when we're not having a hard time. Like, give yourself a little bit of grace if things are getting difficult. Like, you still need to wake up, of course, but maybe if you're rushed, you don't have to do the full 15-minute morning routine. Maybe just do a 5-minute. If you're rushed for a meal, like just do your best. And if you keep just doing your best instead of self-sabotaging, that in itself will keep us in momentum as well. I hope that makes sense, guys. I'm just saying that we don't have to be perfect every day. Some days it's great to be somewhat perfect or doing really good, but not every day is going to be like that. And when there are some rough days, we still need to stack these wins, but we don't have to stack them as intense. Because if we completely fall off from stacking wins, we will fall out of momentum. But if we are able to still stack these wins, but just not be as intense, maybe not hit 15K steps, we'll hit 7K. Maybe we're not able to hit our full protein goal, but we'll get 70% there. As long as we try and we're mindful and we give ourselves, grace and compassion in the moment, if we're having a hard day, as long as we're trying to show up and not completely just self-sabotaging. Because when we self-sabotage, we're like, all right, screw it. I'm not able to wake up early. I wasn't able to have my breakfast or get my steps in. Now I'm going to go to Wendy's. Now I'm not going to check in the app. Now I'm going to block my coach. See, if you keep not stacking wins, your mindset's going to dwindle out of momentum, and it's going to be so much easier for you to convince yourself it's okay to self-sabotage right now. That's what we need to prevent, is that mindset when you're just telling yourself that, it's okay to self-sabotage, we deserve it, or we need to take a break, so we need to self-sabotage. We can take a break. We do deserve to, relax and chill and we can have whatever we want to eat, but those things are all okay. It's the mindset that we're dealing with and how we approach these scenarios with, instead of just going all out and just not tracking our meals again at all, or just doing a little bit of not being completely on point. I hope this is making sense, guys. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Hope this is making sense. So we're stacking wins to prevent self-sabotage. The more wins that we can stack throughout the day, the more likely we're going to stay in momentum, and the more likely it's going to prevent self-sabotage. And I know I mentioned this again, but I just want to reiterate: if we can't fully be engaged with these habits because we're having a busy day, or there's something that happened in our life, and we can't fully do these things, we can't hit our steps, we're not going to be able to do our workout. As long as you communicate with me, as long as you communicate with yourself, as long as you give yourself grace and just be like, not self-sabotage, but give yourself compassion. Be like, I love myself. I'm going to have to take a break from the steps. I'm going to take a break from the workouts. But as soon as I am able to, I know I'm going to do it. Or I'm not able to hit my 10K, I'm just going to hit my 5K. I'm not like progress over perfection. And if we can't complete these habits, we have to at least try with our mindset, or just try a little bit, so we don't fall out of momentum. I wanted to try to articulate that in a way that's clear to you guys. But in simple terms, we just got to keep showing up. Got to keep showing up. And if we can't show up, we just got to be aware of why we can't show up and what emotions are showing up in our head when we don't want to show up. And how do we combat those? Thank you, Jason. So I want to give you guys a little breakdown, a little schedule. Like, I know Jason's getting up pretty early. I'm getting up pretty early. I think Kevin's getting up pretty early. A lot of you guys are getting up early, but let's see if I can scroll up here. So wake up time. The wake up time, I like to say 7 a.m. I know that might be early for a lot of people. If that's too early, depends on your work schedule too. I would just like you guys to push to wake up 30 minutes earlier than you're used to. If we could just get a little bit extra time to work on us, then we're going to feel so much more less anxious, less overwhelmed because we were able to do our 15-minute morning routine. We were able to go on get our first couple thousand steps. We were able to eat a high protein, nutritious breakfast. Just give yourself a little bit more time in the morning and keep your word to yourself. Don't be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be like Coach Al. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. If that's not sustainable with you, don't do that. If you're currently waking up at 9:30 or 10 a.m., whatever, just choose to wake up 30 minutes earlier than the time that you are already currently waking up, just to give yourself a little bit more time. And gradually, maybe we can get up a little bit earlier if that's, in the books for you. Every morning 4 a.m. Yeah, Kevin and Jason, you guys are on point. But there's a lot of other people that may be struggling with their wake up time. So, but and I hope both of you guys too are still getting close to 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, because proper sleep, that's a whole nother topic, but that is more important than this whole mindset game I'm trying to play with you, is getting enough sleep. But we want to, but the main thing I want to press to you guys is the wake up time is important because it's the first win. If you can understand it as your first win, okay, you tell yourself you're going to wake up at 7 in the morning. You wake up at 7 in the morning. You do that. You validate yourself, and you're just like, you know what? When I say I'm going to do some shit, I do some shit. And this is how we build self-confidence, by stacking wins. Because, guys, life is all preparation. The reason that we're on our fitness journey, or the reason why we're doing this mindset, is really preparation. Not to scare you guys, but unfortunately, there's inevitable bad shit that's going to happen to our lives. God forbid, fucked up shit happens to people's lives. And, if people are working on their self-development, if they're working on their mindset, if they're building their positive habits, if they're building their self-worth, we are going to be more adept and be more prepared to handle fucked up situations because we kept our word to ourselves. So getting up out of bed when you tell yourself you're going to get out of bed is the first thing you could do to prove to yourself that you listen to yourself, that you keep your word, and that you are grateful for this one life. So, and again, guys, I don't want you to be jumping up to 5 in the morning when you're waking up at 8. Start with 30 minutes before, 30 minutes early. But if you're already waking up at like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. like these guys, then that's good. You're already doing great. 15-minute morning routine. And, a lot of you guys who are, if you're in the program for a couple months and we've been stacking consistent positive habits, and you've noticed it's changed your mindset, and you've realized that the work instills the worth, we can do a little bit less of the mindset work when it comes to like journaling your affirmations, writing your goals down. That's all great if you want to continue to do that. But I think, what is better use for our time is going on a walk, doing our mobility training, preparing our breakfast for the morning. Those things, we can spend our time doing those things. But of course, if you have extra time and you want to do the mindset work, do it. The quote training, all that stuff is an added benefit. But I think the important ones are the physical, actual actions that we take, not just writing things down. I'm not anti-writing things down. I just think when when it comes to like time management, for me, when I start journaling, or it takes some time for me to like get into that rhythm. But I can wake up right away, go on my walk, do my mobility, read a couple quotes, and then make my breakfast. That's what I do. Wake up at 5, right at 5, I hop up out of bed, go on my walk, then I do my mobility, and then I do a little quote training during my mobility, and then I have my breakfast. And that's win after win after win. And by the time I've eaten my breakfast, I'm vibing so high, my frequency is so high, I'm so proud of myself already, that it's just so likely that my day I'm gonna crush it. So, and then the workout, another win, more validated, positive self-talk during the workout, positive self-talk, post-workout nutrition, and then doing something good for somebody else. I want you guys to do this more. Even if you're already doing it, you do it even more, because it's just so true that whatever you release, you possess. And and if we can stay at a high frequency, like high frequency, like for the majority part of the day, like instead of feeling shame, guilt, and like desire and anger and temptation, instead of like those emotions, if we feel like empowerment, love, appreciation, gratitude, that's what we need to feel. To consistently feel those emotions, we have to be consistently releasing those, becoming the source of what we seek. So if we're feeling down, we got to go make someone else happy. If we're feeling lonely, go reach out to an old friend. I want you guys to be doing something good for somebody else if you can every day. It's going to raise our vibration. If our vibration is raised, It's going to make it more likely we don't self-sabotage and we can stay consistent with these habits. Hitting our steps, positive self-talk while we hit the steps. And just be mindful every time. Just be proud of yourself. When I'm walking around, when I'm in the house, when I'm just like mindful of moving more, I'm just telling myself, this is good for me. I'm a badass. This is shedding more body fat. This is creating the individual that's going to be disciplined. This is creating the individual that's going to have the body I want, that's going to have the mind I want, and I'm going to be prepared for any life event because I'm disciplined, because I show up and stack these wins every day. When you show up and stack wins every day, it just gets easier over time because we're in hot momentum now. It's like second nature because these are habits, guys. The whole program is based off habits. And if I can get you guys to build positive habits that will stay with you for the rest of your life, I'm not saying we have to track our protein and calories for the rest of our life, but we should be eating good. We should be working out. We should be having positive self-talk. We should be doing good things for other people. We should be walking a lot, moving a lot, doing some type of mindset routine. We should be doing all of these habits almost every single day. I would like every day, because the more we do it, the more we're going to have more self-worth for ourselves, the more we're going to have more discipline that's going to cross over into other areas, and the more it's going to be harder, or it's going to be more, it's going to take more, it's going to take more variables for us to self-sabotage. That's the whole thing. I want us to prevent self-sabotage. When something bad happens, like say, God forbid, something bad happens, a lot of people are going to run to what breaks them down. But we know, since we've been working on self-development, that if something bad happens, that's when we need to be our strongest. Like, we need strength to deal with this bad situation. So instead of running to what breaks us down, we run to what builds us up. And that's these positive habits. So usually, guys, I try, even though I try to, practice what I preach, of course, but when something bad happens, I try to double down on self-development, because I know that's when I need to be stronger. A lot of people are going to run to negative habits, run to self-sabotage, and get weaker and weaker, and it's impossible for them to deal with that situation. So I could keep rambling, guys. I hope you got value from this training. It's all about stacking wins and understanding that these are wins and that we are winning, and be okay with not being a loser. A lot of my life, I've been a loser a lot of my life, just with it being loser with like my friend group, loser in and out of jail, loser getting expelled of school, loser addicted to drugs. I was into a lot of loser shit. But now, since I've been stacking positive habits for years, and I took my fitness journey serious for years, and I took my mindset nutrition serious for years, and I've been helping other people do the same for years, it's built this self-worth now that I know I'm no longer a loser. I'm not saying you guys are losers. I'm just saying that we are winners. We are winners, guys. And the way that we're going to win is we're going to win each day. Because if we stack these W's throughout the day, we're going to win the day. And we're going to look back at the end of the day and be like, oh, I did that shit. And then we're going to stack days. Then we're going to stack weeks, and we're going to win weeks. And we stack weeks, we're going to win months. And we win months, then we're going to win years. If we win years, we're going to win at life. And that's what I'm talking about. All right, guys? Appreciate you guys. I sent everybody this in the group training. If you just want this to look at, and you can edit it yourself to add in your own wake up time, or add in whatever is going to be customized to what you're doing every day. If you want me to help you with that, just reach out. If you guys have any questions about today's training, comment below this video or shoot me a message. But I hope you guys got value from this. This is a powerful training, guys. We stack wins. Every positive act that we commit throughout the day that you're following the program, I want you to really resonate with the idea that this is a win. This period, this moment that we just accomplished, that's a win, and that we need to mark that off and check it off as a win and validate ourselves, and do that throughout the day to stay in momentum to prevent self-sabotage. All right? Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Hope you got value from this training, and I will see you guys next week. Peace. Later, guys.